focusing on the minimum wage debate now, we've got Comrade Asuzu Chesana, Assistant General Secretary of NLC. He joins us from our studios in Abuja. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. Well, given the back and forth about this now and Labour's position, what is the current situation now? We know they've had several meetings. Could you give us what's the update if the government has communicated to you any fresh information about what they intend to do concerning Labour's demands?
Well, you can agree with me that this is one of the longest drawn negotiations for minimum wage in the history of our country since the first Minimum Wage Act was passed in 1981. This process started with the inauguration of the tripartite committee for the negotiation of a new national minimum wage in November 2017. And since then, it has been a very tortuous journey. The hopes of Nigerian workers have been suspended for a long time. But then, with the turn of events recently, it appears government is about to do the needful. There is already a memorandum of understanding between government and Labour that this minimum wage draft bill, the new national minimum wage of 30,000 naira, as agreed by the tripartite committee, will be transmitted to the National Assembly on or before the 23rd of January 2019. So this is where we are currently on the issue of the national minimum wage.
Okay, but then you also know that the technical committee, the high-power technical committee, was inaugurated yesterday, and there are those who are concerned and want to know whether Labour is concerned as well, because that committee has 30 days to put forward its report. But what you said earlier about the transmission of a document to the National Assembly is on the 23rd. So that disparity, committee to submit their report in 30 days, submission of the bill to the National Assembly on January the 23rd, and then meetings that are supposed to happen in between. Is Labour concerned about this?
Well, for us, when the issue of the committee came up, Labour made its position very clear, and the position was that Nigerian workers have come to the end of negotiations as far as the issue of a new national minimum wage is concerned. The committee, I think, is for the government to be able to tidy up their own house to ensure a seamless implementation of the new national minimum wage once it is enacted into law by the National Assembly. Upon transmission of the minimum wage, the new national minimum wage bill to the National Assembly by Mr. President on or before 23rd of January. So what government does is government's business. What Labour is concerned about is that this bill is transmitted to the National Assembly on or before the 23rd of January 2019. You can agree with me that the patience of the Nigerian workers have actually been spread thin. The truth of the matter is that workers have actually held forth all this while, giving government the benefit of the doubt to do the needful. As you are aware, the minimum wage, national minimum wage of Nigeria is about the poorest in Africa, and in fact competes with the lowest in the entire world. Therefore, and when you look at the issue of inflation that has occurred since the last minimum wage was passed into law, you will agree with me that the patience of Nigerian workers have been overly tested. And I'm not sure anybody wants to push the Nigerian workers over the edge at this point in time.
You know, some people believe that this new technical committee is a distraction of sorts, if you will, and that it is meant to slow down the process, considering that the elections are close by, and it is going to be submitting its recommendations just very close, or as a matter of fact, extremely close to the elections. Do you see it as such?
Well, for me, like I said, the understanding we have with government is what we are looking at. That's what concerns us, that by the 23rd of January 2019, the draft bill on the new national minimum wage will be transmitted to the National Assembly. That is what Labour looks up to government to fulfill. I'm sure this issue of committee also came up in the discussions they had, and government made it very clear that it has nothing to do with the transmission of the new national minimum wage. As government has promised, I believe their word should be their bond. And I believe government will also need to do the needful to ensure that Mr. President is able to transmit this bill on or before the 23rd of January 2019. So what Labour actually is concerned about in this whole matter is that the President, the executive arm of the federal government should be able to hold up to his end of the bargain. And that is to ensure a quick and speedy transmission of the new national minimum wage bill of 30,000 naira to the National Assembly.
What's your views? My apologies. What's your views to some quotas who submit that yes, Labour has its focus on that 30,000 naira as the minimum wage, but others feel that perhaps this minimum wage should be decentralized. Do you think it should be decentralized, as being suggested by some?
Well, that would be in utter violation and contravention of extant provisions of our Constitution. The issue of national minimum wage is in the exclusive list, and therefore is not a matter that states will be allowed to fix, to handle the issue of discussions. Or in fact, by the time states begin to discuss the issue of national minimum wage, or you push it to the concurrent list, automatically the whole essence of having a national minimum wage will be defeated. As enshrined in Convention 131 and Recommendations 95 of the ILO, which Nigeria has subscribed to, there should be a mechanism of agreeing to a national minimum wage for every country. And I believe Nigeria cannot be an exception.
Just a minute before we wrap this up. Just a minute before we go. If this gets, or when it gets to the National Assembly, if at all it makes it before in this little window, are you optimistic that it will be passed into law?
Well, we believe the National Assembly, if it's actually the assembly of the House of the Nigerian people, will be very quick to actually facilitate and accelerate the passage of this very important bill into law. As a matter of fact, sometime last year, there was a motion in the National Assembly that was moved, calling on the executive to quickly transmit this bill to the National Assembly for enactment. So I believe the National Assembly will do the needful.
All right, then, Comrade Asuzu Echezona, who is the Assistant General Secretary of Nigeria Labour Congress. Thank you for talking to us this morning.